Hey everyone, I'm your host Ryan. Welcome back to Speak Up, the podcast that helps you improve English without feeling lost. If you've ever felt unsure about how to talk about your everyday life in English, then today's episode is just for you. Because here's the truth. Do you know that most people fail to describe their daily routine in English without hesitation? You might understand basic English, you might know common words, but when it comes to describing your day, you either freeze up or keep repeating the same phrases. And that's exactly what we're going to fix today.
Absolutely, Ryan. Talking about your daily routine should feel easy. After all, it's your own life. But for so many learners, this is where they struggle the most. Either they speak too slowly, or they get stuck using unnatural or robotic words. It's a common problem, and it happens because they haven't learned how to connect their ideas in a smooth, confident way. That's why this topic is so important, because being able to describe your routine clearly is one of the most practical ways to practice speaking English every day.
That's right. This episode is all about helping you speak naturally about your day, from morning till night, using real, everyday English. We'll guide you through it step by step so you never feel stuck again. You'll learn how to structure your sentences, which phrases are useful, and how to express your routine without sounding like a textbook. No complicated grammar, just simple and useful expressions you can actually use.
And the best part, we'll show you how to make it personal. As we go through each part of the day, Ryan and I will also share how we talk about our own routines. This way, you can listen, learn, and speak along with us. So if you've ever wanted to confidently talk about your daily life in English, this is the episode for you. Let's get started.
Let's start with the very first thing, waking up. For me, it's not so simple. My alarm rings at 7 a.m., but I don't get up right away. I usually hit the snooze button once or twice. I know I shouldn't, but it feels so good to stay in bed for just 5 more minutes. Eventually, I sit up slowly, stretch my arms, and yawn. It's my body's way of saying, okay, time to move. Then I just sit on the edge of the bed for a minute and take a deep breath. That little pause helps me wake up more gently instead of rushing into the day.
That sounds very real, Ryan. My routine is a bit different, but just as slow in the beginning. I usually wake up a few minutes before my alarm. My body is kind of trained to get up around 7. Once I'm awake, I lie there for a few seconds, then slowly sit up. I don't grab my phone right away. Instead, I open the curtains and let the sunlight in. That's my favorite part of the morning. The natural light makes the room feel alive. Then I yawn, do a quick neck stretch, and get out of bed. I like to move slowly and calmly, without any stress in those first few minutes.
I agree. Starting the day calmly makes a huge difference. After I stretch, I stand up and walk around a little. It helps me shake off the sleepiness. Then I go back and make my bed. It's a simple habit, but I feel more organized when I do it. The room looks cleaner, and it feels like I've already accomplished something. After that, I walk to the bathroom and splash some cold water on my face. That's when I really start to feel awake. I still avoid checking my phone. Instead, I just look out the window for a few seconds and take in the morning.
Yes, looking out the window is such a peaceful moment. I do the same thing. After making my bed, I usually stretch my back and shoulders. Then I head straight to the kitchen and drink a full glass of water. I read somewhere that drinking water first thing in the morning is good for your body, and I've been doing it ever since. It feels refreshing. I don't speak to anyone yet, not even family. I enjoy the silence. Sometimes I'll even light a candle or play soft music just to set the mood for the morning. It's small, but it makes a big difference in how I feel.
That's a beautiful way to begin the day. After drinking water, I do a few light movements. Not exercise exactly, but just bending and reaching to wake up my muscles. Then I brush my teeth and wash my face properly. By this time, I feel more alert and ready to think clearly. I like to keep the lights low and avoid noise during this time. It gives me space to think and breathe. I also take a moment to mentally plan my day. Nothing formal, just going over what I need to do. That helps me feel a bit more in control.
It's interesting how something as simple as a morning routine can shape your whole day. After brushing my teeth and washing my face, I sometimes take a moment to smile at myself in the mirror. It might sound silly, but it lifts my mood. Then I go back to my room, fold my nightwear, and get ready for the next part of the morning. I like keeping my space tidy. When things are in their place, I feel more focused. I avoid rushing and try to move from one task to the next calmly. That's my little trick to avoid feeling overwhelmed before the day even begins.
That's such a nice habit. I think people underestimate how important the small actions are, like making your bed or drinking water. These little things add up and create a peaceful flow in the morning. And when you can describe these simple actions in English, it becomes even more powerful. You're not just doing them, you're also learning how to talk about your real life clearly. That kind of daily practice is what helps people build fluency without even realizing it.
Exactly, Ryan. When you learn how to express your routine in English, even the most ordinary actions, it helps your confidence grow. You're using English to talk about your own life, your habits, your mornings. And that's what real fluency is. You're not memorizing, you're expressing. So even if it starts with small phrases like, I get up or I stretch, those are real, useful steps towards speaking better every single day.
After waking up and starting the day slowly, the next important part of my routine is the bathroom. I always brush my teeth right after I get up. It feels refreshing and wakes me up even more. Sometimes I take a cold shower if the weather is warm because it really makes me feel fresh and alert. I don't like long showers, just quick ones to get ready for the day. While I'm in the bathroom, I also wash my face to remove sleepiness and refresh my skin. It's a simple routine, but it makes a big difference.
Yes, I do almost the same things. Brushing teeth is the very first thing I do after waking up. I like to keep my mouth fresh and clean. Then I take a warm shower. I find warm water relaxing and it helps me feel calm and ready for the day ahead. After the shower, I wash my face with a gentle cleanser. This helps to wake me up fully and make my skin feel clean and smooth. Next, I comb my hair carefully. I like to avoid tangles. Taking care of these small things makes me feel confident before I get dressed.
That sounds nice, Priya. For me, after brushing teeth and washing my face, I usually comb my hair quickly. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but I make sure it's neat enough for the day. Then I get dressed. I try to pick comfortable clothes depending on the weather and what I have planned. Sometimes I choose casual wear if I'm working from home, and other days I dress more formally for meetings. Getting dressed is a simple task, but it helps me switch from home mode to work mode in my mind.
I completely agree. Choosing what to wear is an important part of my routine too. After I finish with my personal care, I pick my outfit carefully. I consider the weather, the occasion, and how I want to feel during the day. Sometimes I like to dress brightly because it lifts my mood. Other times I prefer neutral colors for a calm day. I also make sure my clothes are clean and tidy. Dressing well helps me feel ready to face the day and confident in my English conversations as well.
Sometimes I like to add small details to my routine, like using a light fragrance or putting on a watch. These small habits make me feel more organized and prepared. Even when I'm working at home, these little things help me feel professional and focused. It's interesting how simple bathroom and dressing habits can set the tone for the whole day.
Exactly. For me, taking care of personal hygiene is not just about looking good. It's about feeling good inside too. After my shower and getting dressed, I feel fresh and ready to take on any challenge. It's like I'm telling myself I'm prepared for whatever comes next. And when you can describe these habits clearly in English, it shows that you're comfortable talking about your daily life.
You know, I think the way we describe these daily routines is also very important. Instead of just saying, I take a shower, we can say, I take a quick cold shower to feel fresh, or I comb my hair carefully to avoid tangles. Adding details helps make your English more natural and interesting. It also gives listeners more chances to learn useful phrases.
That's a great tip, Ryan. Small details make your conversation more lively and clear. And the more you practice these daily routines in English, the easier it becomes to speak without hesitation. Talking about something familiar, like brushing teeth or getting dressed, is a perfect way to build your fluency naturally.
Now that we've talked about bathroom and dressing habits, let's move on to one of the most important parts of the morning, breakfast and getting ready for the day. Breakfast is the fuel that gives you energy, so it's important to talk about it clearly in English. For me, the first thing I do is brew a fresh cup of coffee. I like strong coffee because it really wakes me up. Then, I usually make something simple, like toast with eggs. It's quick to prepare but keeps me full for a good part of the morning. Sometimes, if I'm short on time, I just eat cereal or fruit. What about you, Priya? How do you start your breakfast routine?
Thanks, Ryan. Yes, breakfast is definitely important. For me, I usually start by making a cup of tea instead of coffee. It helps me feel calm and focused. Then I prepare a light breakfast like yogurt with some fruit, or sometimes parathas with vegetables. I try to keep it healthy but also tasty. After breakfast, I like to pack my lunch before I leave the house. Packing lunch saves time and helps me eat healthier throughout the day because I know exactly what I'm eating. I also make sure to drink enough water before heading out. How about your lunch prep, Ryan? Do you prepare it in the morning too?
Absolutely, Priya. After breakfast, I usually pack my lunchbox if I'm going to the office. First, I check what leftovers I have from the night before, maybe some rice and vegetables or curry, and pack them neatly. I find it saves me a lot of money and helps me avoid unhealthy options at work. Sometimes I prepare a fresh salad if I have time. After packing lunch, I clean the kitchen quickly, washing the dishes or loading the dishwasher so everything is tidy. It feels good to leave a clean space. Do you have a similar cleanup routine, Priya?
Yes, definitely. After I finish eating, I always wash the dishes or put them in the dishwasher. Then I wipe the kitchen counters and table to keep everything neat and ready for the next meal. A clean kitchen really helps me start the day with a fresh mind. I also take a quick moment to check my bag for essentials, my phone, keys, wallet, and sometimes my notebook or planner. These little habits make sure I'm prepared and calm before leaving. Ryan, do you also think these small routines help you stay organized?
I do, Priya. Those small habits really make a big difference in how smoothly the morning goes. Plus, talking about your breakfast and kitchen routine is a great way to practice everyday English words and sentences. For example, you can say things like, I usually have toast and eggs for breakfast, or I drink a cup of coffee before leaving. Adding details makes your conversation more natural and interesting.
Exactly, Ryan. And to make your sentences flow better, try using sequencing words like first, then, after that, and finally. For instance, you can say, first, I make tea, then, after that, I eat breakfast, and finally, I pack my lunch. These little words help your story sound clear and easy to follow, which is important when you're speaking English.
That's a very useful tip, Priya. Also, the verbs we use here, like make, brew, eat, pack, are common in daily life, so practicing them often helps you speak more confidently. Describing your breakfast and morning preparation is an easy way to build your vocabulary naturally.
Absolutely, Ryan. The more you describe your daily routines in English, the easier it becomes to speak without hesitation. When you can talk smoothly about simple things like breakfast and packing lunch, you build a strong foundation that helps with more complex conversations later.
Now that we've covered breakfast and getting ready, let's talk about something many people do every day, their commute. How do you usually get to work, Priya? For me, I take a bus to the office every morning. The trip usually takes about 20 minutes, but sometimes I get stuck waiting in traffic. It's a good time to listen to music or practice English on my phone. Talking about your commute is a great way to use everyday verbs like take, ride, and wait. What about you?
I usually walk to my workplace because it's close to my home. It only takes me about 10 minutes, which is perfect for starting the day with some fresh air. Sometimes, if I'm feeling tired or the weather is bad, I take a rickshaw or ride a bike. When you describe your commute, you can say, I walk to work every day, or I take a rickshaw if it's raining. These simple sentences help you explain your daily travel clearly.
Exactly. And if you drive a car, you can say, I drive to work every morning. It's also common to talk about the time your commute takes, like, it usually takes me 30 minutes to get to the office. These details make your story more interesting and natural. Sometimes I also mention the traffic situation, like, I often wait in traffic during rush hour. Adding these small details makes your English sound more fluent.
That's a great point, Ryan. When talking about your commute, you can use verbs like ride, take, and wait naturally. For example, I ride the train to school, or I wait for the bus at the stop. You can also talk about the time using phrases like, it takes me about 15 minutes. Practicing these sentences helps you describe everyday situations easily in English.
Another useful phrase pattern is, I usually verb to work every day. For instance, I usually drive to work, or I usually walk to school. Using this pattern makes your speaking smooth and clear. It's a simple formula that helps you share your daily habits confidently.
Yes, and you can also add more information if you want, like, I usually take the bus to work, but sometimes I carpool with a friend. This makes your conversation more natural and interesting. Remember, the key is to practice talking about simple, everyday routines like commuting. It builds your confidence in English step by step.
Right, Priya. And talking about your commute is not only practical, but also gives you a chance to use time expressions and action verbs together. For example, I usually ride my bike to work, and it takes about 20 minutes. These sentences are useful in daily conversations and help you sound more fluent.
Absolutely, Ryan. The more you practice describing your daily commute clearly, the better your English will become. It's a simple topic, but it gives you many chances to use different verbs and phrases naturally. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be able to talk about your whole day with confidence.
Now, let's talk about what happens during the main part of your day, work or study time. Many people spend several hours focused on their tasks, and being able to describe these activities clearly is really important. For example, I usually work from 9 to 5. My day starts by checking emails first. It helps me know what's urgent and what I need to do next. What about your workday, Priya? How do you describe your study routine?
Thanks, Ryan. When I study, I often start by reviewing my notes or reading the material for my classes. I usually study in the afternoon after lunch, and I focus on different subjects depending on the day. For example, on Mondays I study math, and on Wednesdays I spend more time on English. I also take short breaks to stay fresh. When you talk about your work or study, it's good to use phrases like I usually or I often because they make your sentences sound natural and fluent.
Exactly. Using I usually and I often helps show that these actions happen regularly. During my workday, I also attend meetings and take phone calls. For example, I can say, I usually attend meetings in the morning, or I often take calls in the afternoon. These simple sentences help you explain your daily routine clearly and naturally. What kind of tasks do you focus on during your study time, Priya?
Well, Ryan, I usually focus on my homework assignments or practice speaking English. Sometimes I write essays or practice grammar exercises. You can say, I focus on my tasks, or I spend time writing emails or reports. When you explain your work or study, it's helpful to use action verbs like attend, write, study, and focus. They make your sentences stronger and easier to understand.
Good point. And don't forget, you can also talk about the time you spend on these activities. For example, I work from 9 to 5, or I study for 2 hours every day. These details make your description more complete and interesting. Talking about your daily work or study habits is a great way to practice everyday English.
Yes, and if you want to sound even more fluent, try combining sentences. For example, I usually check my emails first, then attend meetings, and after that, I focus on my tasks. Using sequencing words like then and after that makes your speech smooth and easy to follow.
That's a great tip, Priya. When you describe your work or study time, it's important to keep your sentences clear and simple. You can say, I often write emails in the morning, or I usually take calls after lunch. Practicing these sentences will help you speak confidently about your daily activities.
Exactly. The more you practice describing your daily work or study routines, the easier it will be to talk about other topics in English. Remember, using common verbs and time phrases helps you sound natural and confident. Keep practicing and your English will improve day by day.
Now that we've talked about work and study, let's focus on something everyone looks forward to, the lunch break. Taking a break in the middle of the day is really important. I usually have lunch around 1 p.m., and it helps me recharge my energy. Sometimes when I'm super busy, I grab a quick bite instead of having a full meal. Talking about your lunch habits is a great way to practice simple verbs like eat, take a break, or grab. What about you, Priya? How do you spend your lunch break?
Thanks, Ryan. Lunchtime for me is a chance to relax and refresh my mind. I usually eat something light, like a sandwich or some fruit. Sometimes, if the weather is nice, I go for a short walk after eating. Walking helps me clear my head and feel ready for the rest of the day. You can say, I go for a walk after lunch, or sometimes I call my family during my break. These expressions help you talk about your midday routine in clear and natural English.
That sounds very healthy, Priya. When describing your lunch break, you can also use contrasting words to add interest to your speech. For example, you might say, usually I eat lunch at my desk, but on busy days I take a quick break outside. Using words like usually, sometimes, and on busy days shows how your routine can change, which makes your English sound more fluent and natural.
Yes, and sometimes I have a longer lunch break when I meet friends or attend a class. On those days, I might eat at a cafe or the campus canteen. You can say, on weekends, I usually have lunch with my friends, or sometimes I eat out instead of cooking. These sentences help you add variety when talking about your daily activities.
Good point. You can also include small details to make your description richer. For instance, you can say, I usually eat a salad and drink some water, or sometimes I drink tea after my meal. Talking about what you eat or drink helps you use everyday vocabulary naturally. It's simple but very useful for daily conversation.
Definitely. Another good way to describe your lunch break is to explain how long it lasts. For example, I take a 30-minute break for lunch, or my lunch break usually lasts about an hour. Talking about time helps listeners understand your routine better. And you can add what you do during that time, like resting, reading, or checking your phone.
Right. And don't forget about expressing your feelings during lunch. You can say, I feel relaxed after eating, or taking a break helps me stay focused for the rest of the day. These sentences make your speaking more personal and interesting.
Exactly, Ryan. When you connect your ideas smoothly, it sounds more natural. You could say, I usually eat lunch at 1 p.m., then I go for a short walk, and sometimes I call home or check messages. Using then and sometimes helps make your story flow well. Practicing these sentences will help you speak confidently about your daily routine.
That's a great tip. Lunch is not just about food. It's a perfect topic to practice English because you can use many useful verbs and time expressions. Keep practicing talking about your lunch break, and you'll improve your fluency step by step.
Yes, and the more you practice describing simple activities like eating and resting, the easier it will be to talk about more complex topics later. Lunch is a small but important part of your day, so it's worth mastering these sentences.
All right. Now that we've talked about lunch and midday activities, let's move to the evening part of the day. After work or school, many of us want to relax and unwind. For example, I usually come home around 6 p.m. After that, I like to relax by watching YouTube or sometimes scrolling through my phone for a little while. It's a nice way to take a break from the busy day. You can say, I come home around 6 p.m. or I relax by watching TV or YouTube. These simple sentences are great for everyday conversation.
I agree, Ryan. Evenings are the time when I really slow down. I often cook dinner with my sister, and it's a fun way to spend time together. You can describe your evening by saying, I cook dinner with my family, or I prepare a simple meal every evening. Also, talking about your hobbies is useful. For example, I exercise for 30 minutes, or sometimes I read a book to relax. These phrases help you explain what you do after a long day.
That's a nice routine, Priya. Many people like to watch TV or listen to music after work to relax. You might say, I watch my favorite shows in the evening, or I listen to music to unwind. It's good to use everyday verbs like watch, listen, or relax. Another useful phrase is, I scroll through my phone, which is very common these days. You can add, to catch up on news or social media. It shows how you spend your free time naturally.
Absolutely. And sometimes I do simple exercises at home, like stretching or yoga, to keep my body active. You can say, I exercise in the evening, or I do light stretches before bed. Talking about exercise adds variety to your descriptions and makes your routine sound balanced. Plus, it's a healthy habit to mention.
Good point. Also, some people like to spend evenings relaxing by themselves. You can say, I relax by reading a book, or I enjoy some quiet time before sleeping. Using phrases like enjoy some quiet time or unwind makes your English sound more fluent and natural. It's great to describe not just what you do, but how it makes you feel.
Yes, feelings are important when you talk about your routine. For example, I feel calm after cooking dinner, or watching TV helps me forget about work stress. These sentences add depth to your language and make conversations more interesting. It's useful to connect your actions with emotions.
And don't forget about times and frequency. You might say, I usually cook dinner at 7 p.m., or sometimes I watch TV for an hour. Using words like usually, sometimes, and every evening helps your listener understand your habits better. It also shows you can use time expressions naturally.
Exactly. When you combine time phrases with your activities, it sounds more complete. You could say, every evening I cook with my sister, then we watch a show together. Using then helps connect ideas and makes your speech smoother. Practicing these sentences will help you confidently talk about your evening routine in English.
Finally, let's talk about how we get ready for bed, the last part of our day. This is an important routine because it helps us relax and prepare for a good night's sleep. For example, I usually go to bed around 10 p.m. It's good to say, I go to bed around 10 to tell someone what time you sleep. Simple sentences like this help you clearly explain your daily habits in English.
Yes, Ryan. And before sleeping, I always brush my teeth and set my alarm for the next day. You can say, before bed, I always brush my teeth, or at night, I usually set my alarm. These phrases are very useful because they show what you regularly do before sleeping. Also, many people like to read a book or pray to calm their mind.
That's true. Another thing I do is check my phone one last time before turning it off. It's common to say, I check my phone one last time before sleeping. Using before and after in sentences helps your English sound natural. You can also say, I like to read for a few minutes before bed, which is a great way to practice different sentence structures.
Exactly. Some people say, at night, I usually pray and think about the day. Talking about your personal habits helps make your daily routine sound interesting. You can use sentences like, I say my prayers before sleeping, or I spend some time relaxing in bed. These are simple, useful phrases everyone can use.
And don't forget, it's helpful to talk about habits with phrases like always, usually, or sometimes. For example, I usually set my alarm before going to sleep. Or sometimes I listen to soft music to help me relax. These words make your speaking more fluent and natural.
Right, Ryan. Also, you can add variety by explaining how you feel. For instance, I feel peaceful after reading a book, or setting my alarm helps me feel ready for tomorrow. Adding feelings or reasons gives your English more depth and makes conversations more engaging.
So, putting it all together, you could say, before bed, I brush my teeth, check my phone, and set my alarm. Then I read for a while before turning off the lights. This kind of clear and simple description will help you talk confidently about your nighttime routine.
That's a great way to wrap up your day in English. We hope you found these phrases useful and easy to use. Keep practicing your daily routine in English, and soon it will become natural and fluent. Thanks for joining us today on Speak Up.
Yes, thank you all for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and keep practicing every day. We'll see you in the next episode with more helpful English learning tips. Until then, keep speaking up and stay confident.